fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We live. Man, the Raiders, man, they are active today, man. Oh, my God. Like, everything is going on with the Raiders right now when it comes to picking up the players left and right, making trades. Where do we begin? Let's start with let's actually shout out to everybody pulling up. I'm gonna wait until like a few people pull up, but man, it's been a crazy day. Before trade cut down day, I thought it would have been probably Tuesday would have been the day where we'd have seen a few moves, but I didn't expect them to make all these trades. Salute. Eagletarian in the building, man. Appreciate you pulling up, my guy, man. He says, I think the trade signing for Kenny Pickett market was bad. Okay, yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into that, man. We're gonna talk about the trade demand by Jakobi Meyers. Obviously, Amari Cooper was signed. The return of Amari Cooper. I know a lot of Raider fans, were kind of, it was a mixed feelings about Amari Cooper, especially where he left his time with the Raiders. Some people accused him of not enjoying his time with the Raiders, but we'll see if he has something left in the tank. We'll see if he can contribute to the team. I don't think it's gonna be a lot of pressure for him to contribute, but we'll get into that. You said, do I play man? That's hella random. Yeah, man. Hey, I'll put the link in the chat in a second. Appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, so some moves I like, some moves I didn't like. Let's just start there. Some moves I like, some moves I didn't like. Eagletarian, I partly disagree with you. I partly disagree with you. And the reason, let's start off with Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers is obviously the Raiders' number one wide receiver. And he's been looking for a contract this entire offseason. To credit to him, he hasn't really been like a distraction to the team. I haven't really, he showed up to every OTAs, all camp. I haven't looked at Jakobi Meyers as a guy that's been a distraction to the team. This is kind of surprising, but it's not surprising just because on one level, it's like Jakobi Meyers is the quietest guy in the locker room. On the other side to it is that Jakobi Meyers is a guy that deserves to get paid. If we're being honest, like he's one of the consistent playmakers on offense, and he actually overplayed his contract. If you look at his contract, he's getting paid $11 million a year, average $11 million. I think he gets paid $11 million this year, which is ranked, according to Spot Track, 92nd overall. Which, to put that in perspective, that's tied with Allen Lazard, and Allen Lazard is not a starting receiver. Jakobi Meyers is, and he's actually looked at to be a number one receiver. So I could understand where Jakobi Meyers is coming from when it comes to this trade demand. Now, that being said, we understand that Jakobi Meyers is a good player, but I don't think he's a number one receiver, and I don't think he should get number one receiver money, even though he's the Raiders' number one receiver by default. If you wanted to argue that point, I can see why someone would be like that. Well, the number one option isn't Jakobi Meyers. He might be the number one receiver, but the number one option on offense, or the best player on offense, is Brock Bowers. So the Raiders are obviously, they're trying to get a fair deal. Jakobi Meyers is trying to get paid because he obviously played. He was patiently waiting to get to this moment. I think it's all part of negotiation, but it's just ugly right before the season. So it's just, being a Raider fan is crazy. This happens right before the season starts. I know it's a part of the business, and hopefully they'll be able to wrap this up and hopefully sign him to a good deal right before the season starts. But the Raiders kind of played their hand a little bit by saying, okay, you're requesting a trade. This is all part of the game, right? We're going to go ahead and sign Amari Cooper. Yeah, Amari Cooper, the Amari Cooper that the Raiders drafted back in 2015. Good receiver for the Raiders. Obviously, he was traded. A lot of Raider fans got mixed feelings about him because, it didn't feel like he enjoyed his time with the Raiders, because as soon as he got traded to the Cowboys, the man was all smiles. The running joke is that this guy never smiles as a Raider. Hopefully, that changes, because, Amari Cooper signs literally the day before cut day, right, 2 weeks before the season starts. So you can see his market wasn't really that high. And I think the Raiders possibly got a good deal. King of oneself, man, appreciate you coming through. You said Jakobi Meyers wants to be a Niner. I don't know about that one. Man. I mean, I understand. I mean, just in all seriousness, Kyle Shanahan is one of the best offensive minds in football, but I think he wants to stay a Raider, but he just wants to get paid. That's all. It's all part of the game. They're all negotiating right now, but I don't know, this Amari Cooper signing, the timing of it, because I kind of was vouching for Amari Cooper. I know a lot of, and this is going back to Egalitarian, what he said earlier. He thought both moves were bad. When it comes to Kenny Pickett, I'll get to that in a second. In my opinion, I think the Amari Cooper signing wasn't really that bad. I mean, I felt like they needed a veteran wide receiver presence that can play on the outside, and I think Cooper can play on the inside as well. He's a good route runner. Now, does he have any left in the tank? We'll see, but I don't think the Raiders are going to be expecting him to be a number one wideout where, Raiders have a lot of different things going on offense, and I think they just want him to be a healthy contributor. But you can also look at it, I was going to make this point earlier, you can also look at it as leverage for the Raiders in order to get the right contract for Jakobi Meyers. Or, if we're being honest, this might be the last time we see Jakobi Meyers as a Raider. So, and hopefully it doesn't come down to that. So I really hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. If Truth Hurts says, if you can protect Geno, you will make the wild card. Yeah. I mean, if you can protect the quarterback in general, I mean, that's part of the game. Offensive line, it starts in the trenches at the end of the day. So I definitely agree with that. That we got to run the football and we got to protect the football. We got to run the football and we got to protect Geno for sure. But yeah, we'll get into that in a second. You said Geno get hit one time, throw an interception next play. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure. The plan is not to put a lot of pressure on Geno. I think there was a lot of pressure on Geno to be the guy to make it happen, because Seattle didn't have a run game. I think the Raiders, if all things go right, they're going to have a run game, because they obviously drafted one of the best running backs in the draft with Ashton Genty. So the plan is not to put a whole lot of pressure with Geno, have that play action, get guys open and all that. So I think that's how it's going to work out for them. But going back to Amari Cooper, I like the signing. From what I heard, I don't know the exact details on how much he's, the contract details, but we do know that it's a 1-year deal. In my opinion, I think that Amari Cooper signing was a good move just for the fact that it was a need. It was a need. The entire offseason, we had questions about who was going to be on the outside. We didn't really look at Besh as an outside receiver. We kind of looked at him similar to the players that we already have, like a Jakobi Meyers, because I know a lot of people bring up Besh, second-round Raiders receiver, who really hasn't stood out that much. I think he's still trying to figure out his way as a rookie, and he might get there. But as of right now, I think adding a vet is a smart move. But some people might say, like Javier is stating right here, Jacoby should get traded for a defensive player. Who though? Who would you trade? Who would you trade Jacoby for? Who was on the market? I think we got to be realistic. If anything, I think it might be for a draft pick, maybe a second, third round pick. Second would be nice. Second would be nice. As much as I don't want to lose Jacoby, I think that this regime has kind of made it known that they don't really want to pay a lot of the guys that were here prior to the regime starting with Pete Carroll and Spytek. If you look at free agency, a lot of guys walked. You call them Amari Cooper Butterfingers. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, that was always something that we felt like was going to get better over time, but it never did. That followed him into his entire career. Good route runner, has some speed to him, athletic, but he had the cases of dropsies, man. Him and the other Alabama receiver, I'm forgetting his name. I think he's with the Browns, but they both had issues with catching the football. I don't know what's going on over there. I mean, there's some great talent has come out of Alabama when it comes to wide receiver position, but for some reason that Amari Cooper and a few other receivers coming out of there couldn't catch the ball as consistently as you wanted them to. Brian Rodriguez says they said that the Raiders have discussed a trade for Kyle Duggar. Duggar? Okay. You talking about the safety? The safety for the Patriots? I don't know, man. I was thinking more free safety. I don't know. I don't think Kyle Duggar is a free safety. He's more in the box. So I don't know how that would fit. Would he be the third safety? What would be the compensation? I'm not sure. But I think, I've heard rumors about the Patriots possibly shopping him. We'll see. But what I will say, the Raiders they were active today. They were active. From Jakobi Meyers obviously requesting a trade. The Raiders reportedly obviously denied it. So they're still trying to negotiate a contract. But they obviously added Amari Cooper, which added leverage to the negotiations. And then they're going to go from there. So we'll see how that shakes out. Hopefully they can sign Jakobi Meyers to a contract. But it just sucks that it's happening right before the season. This happens all the time with the Raiders. Something for some reason. And I'm not saying that every year, but it just feels like there's always something going on with the Raiders, man. But they keep it interesting. I'll give them that. They keep it interesting. That being said, the move that I hated the most, Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett. Bruh, he's garbage, man. He is trash, man. I don't understand the move. I understand it from a perspective of, okay, they get a guy that has some starts under his belt, but they traded away a 5th round pick for a Kenny Pickett who's basically AOC with legs but less arm. Like, I don't understand it. He's a career he had career 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. I mean, from what I've seen, I don't see a guy that you would want to be out there, but I guess they believe in him. They believe in the talent in him being a backup quarterback. And I'm not saying he's going to be the starter. No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, I know. Shout out to Ray, man. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, man. He's trash. He's garbage. He's garbage. And your guy, Ray, Kyle Trask, who's going to be released by the Tampa. I would have been behind that move because at least we didn't have to give up a draft pick. And that's the big thing here. Like, why did they gave up a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett? They could have literally signed someone off the street. So I didn't really understand that move. Maybe that's a spy tech guy as far as him being a fan of him in college, where he scouted him when he was getting drafted. He got drafted by the Steelers, not by the Bucks. Man, salute my guy Raider Way in the building. Yeah, bro. Straight garbage, man. I really don't understand that move. Really don't understand that one. That one was like a head scratcher. Cause I don't see like, okay, if they would have signed, cause I felt like Kenny Pickett probably would have got cut. There was probably a chance that he might have got cut. I mean, some people would have said, oh, they should have went after Sanders. I don't think the Browns made Shedeur available. And I think it would have been ass backwards to trade for Shedeur, which I'm not against trading for Shedeur, but the Raiders literally had this dude at so many parts of that draft, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, as well as the NFL, and then to trade for Shedeur, which probably the Browns are going to be asking for a higher compensation, that would have been smart. So I think the Browns definitely won that deal with Kenny Pickett. I just don't understand it. They could have got a similar player by picking someone up in the waiver wire, or even better. I mean, I dropped a video today. It was actually a clip from last week talking about Anthony Richardson. That would have been something I would have been excited about. Not that I want him to start. It was more of like, okay, there's a little bit of a developmental aspect to him. You know, he could sit behind his, you know, the starter in Geno Smith and get better. Chip Kelly can obviously develop him as a quarterback. We all know what Pete Carroll likes to. He's a quarterback whisperer. He was the guy responsible, or partly responsible for, you know, giving Geno a chance and breathing life into his career. And we've seen how that you know, unfolded. And we all know Pete Carroll was a fan of AR when he was getting drafted. But, you know, the Raiders definitely got overruled, which is, you know what, and another thing, you know, that I'm not, this is something that I want to bring up too as well, is that we can all talk about like who made the move. Obviously, Spytech went ahead and made the move and traded for Kenny Pickett. But one of the things that I thought was interesting was Albert Breer talking about Tom Brady and his influence on the organization and how he wants to be low key. But in reality, he's in on every move, pretty much every big move. So I'm sure Tom Brady was in on this move. So if y'all want to get on Spytech, y'all better get on Tom Brady too as well, because Tom Brady for sure, like, oh yeah, this guy is exactly the type of quarterback that I would want, just in case Geno gets hurt. Yeah, man, it's tough, bro. Effing embarrassing, I know. That's what I'm saying. Bro. I had no idea they gave up a 5th in the words. That's disgusting. Yeah, it is disgusting. Disgusting move. DTR was free. But to be fair, though, DTR has a 1 to 10 interception ratio, 1 touchdown to 10 interception. And one of the things that Pete Carroll mentioned that he was looking for in a quarterback was experience. DTR kind of gives you a little bit of experience, but, you know, he hasn't really kind of played well when he got in there. So it's kind of hard for me to defend DTR. DTR was only a connection to Chip Kelly. Like, okay, that was Chip Kelly's quarterback in college. That was the only reason why people were kind of making that connection. I wouldn't go that far. My confidence in this regime is slowly dwindling. I wouldn't go that far. I'm still giving him a chance. There's still some aspects of the team that I'm looking forward to seeing this season. Obviously, I want to see some of the talent that we have on offense. I want to see how this defense is able to develop some of the young players too as well. I wouldn't say all that. It's just the backup quarterback. I know for a dog. Are we talking about the backup quarterback really? I understand. I get it. But it is ugly. It's ugly. There's no way to, wrap it up. To me, it's an ugly move. It's how much so Javier, so according to Spot Track, right? They're saying that Jacoby, he had a really good season, his first 1,000-yard season of his career last year. Just over 1,000. Had 87 receptions. Spot Track reportedly gave out some details on what his contract could look like as far as an extension, his value in the market. They're saying 2 years. 2 years. $60 million, bro. Hell to the nah, man.
Hell no. To the no.
Whew. No. So if I'm with the Raiders, if this is true, if Jacoby's asking for $30 million a year, come on, bro. I'm with the Raiders, man. Raiders got to play hardball on this one because I do not. Jacoby, good player, but he's not a great player. You know what I mean? Max Crosby makes $30 a year, but we all know Max is a great player. Jacoby's not a. I don't look at him on that level. I don't see him on that level of a 30 million a year contract. And from the Raiders' perspective, they're preparing for this moment the whole time. People point to Jack Besh, second-round receiver, similar, skill set to Jacoby, kind of guy, a guy that you want to play in the slot. They obviously signed Amari Cooper, so they're prepared to play hardball with this. They're not going to trade him because they want Jacoby. They've said all the right things about Jacoby this entire offseason. So, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Man, salute, man. Robert, man, appreciate you coming through. Oh man, we got salute to Myra in the building. Appreciate you coming through. Whew, man, we got some questionable people in here. Goddamn. All right, but for the most part, man, we got some good people. I don't think he had any preseason snaps either. Yeah, man, because that Browns QB depth chart was crazy, man. They had like 4 or 5 quarterbacks. I was like, they had like 100 quarterbacks back there. I mean, they literally, and that's a whole different conversation about, Shador getting enough snaps with the other players, man. It's Browns got their own situation, but yeah, they just didn't have a lot of snaps for all those quarterbacks they had. Salute. Just wanted to pop my hand here and say the Raiders in past have discussed a trade that involved Myers. Breaking news. Breaking news. Shout out to Raider Resistance. Mr. IG himself in the building saying that Myers and Kyle. Okay, that would be. That's just. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think that's good business, man. Myers for a safety? I mean, we would probably have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. I mean, we have, like, if you're being honest, like, we're kind of up there. Like, we don't really have a lot of established guys outside of Jakobi Meyers. But once you take Jakobi Meyers from the room, I said I like the move of Amari Cooper, but Amari is going to be the number 1 receiver. That's going to be a long season at wide receiver. So yeah, I don't know what that's a crazy move, especially because the Raiders play the Patriots week 1. You're going to trade with a week 1 opponent and then let Myers have a career game? I don't want to see that. I Raider PTSD. I do not want to see that happen. Salute, man. Appreciate you coming through, Daryl. My guy. Yeah, 30 mil. 30 mil. That's and like Terry McLaurin, I would have gave him that. I feel like he's a number one receiver. DK Metcalf, is a number one receiver compared to a Jakobi Meyers. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great number two. Great number two. Called. I told you it'd be interesting, Kyle Durgan, not for Jacoby though. That, bro, come on, man. Like, if we're being honest, Ray. Come on, man. If we're being honest, hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. All right. He said, called out. I told you, I don't think it's a great move. A wide receiver for a safety that, is he going to even, possibly start? I mean, isn't he a strong safety? He's going to be in the box. I don't like the move. And you're trading with an opponent that you're going to be playing week 1 with Josh McDaniels over here just waiting for his revenge game. I don't want to see that, man. I got Raider PTSD. I do not want to see another team get nah. Let's not do that. I think the Raiders are kind of being a little too comfortable. I understand that Myers definitely needs to. I feel like the Raiders need to hold on to Myers and play hardball. I'm okay with that. Don't trade him right now. There you go, Raider Nation in the building. Robert Kraft regrets Kobe walking. Yeah, I remember him saying that like in one of those one of the podcasts that he was on. But take that for whatever is worth. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be excited to have him come back, but I'm not trading our starting wide receiver, our best wide receiver, for a safety. I mean, like, man, I just don't agree with the move. I don't agree with the move. But hey, if we're being honest, if y'all, it's the first time y'all joining me, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, obviously subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But if it's the first time y'all and the people that have already been watching me, y'all heard me say that 2025 is not the season, in my opinion, that the Raiders are going to make a push for the playoffs. I've always said it's 2026, and their moves kind of reflect that. Why do they reflect that? Because look at the lack of aggressiveness when it comes to free agency. It was a weak free agency class, but they still, it wasn't like they didn't really address some of the weaknesses they had on the roster, in my opinion. Then you go to the draft, they made some moves here and there, but it's just not enough when you look at the division. The division is like full of probably one of the best divisions in football. It is, you can argue maybe the best in football. The AFC North I would probably put up there as like number 1 or number 2. AFC West I put it up there. And then you got the NFC North. You could put them up there as well. And the AFC West is up there as one of the best divisions of football. And I feel like the Raiders, they're fighting an uphill battle. We'll see how it shakes out during the season, but it's just going to be tough because, I don't think they have a whole lot of depth. If one guy goes down, it's going to be a tough season. Now you're talking about taking away a starting receiver, a receiver that I felt like the Raiders are going to be counting on offense. You're making it weaker. And Amari Cooper, who you're going to sign 2 weeks before the season, like Amari Cooper coming in with Jakobi Meyers established as a wide receiver, will be okay. Give him probably a few games for him to get acclimated with the playbook. But now you're going to put a lot of pressure for him to be the guy that they can rely on. I understand we got some young players like a Jack Besh and a Dante Thornton, but they need some time, man. They're rookies. They need some time. He says Raiders have that 4th divisional spot on lockdown. That's wild, man. I hope not, man. Like I hope that I'm wrong. I'm saying all this, but I hope I'm wrong. I'm just being honest. Jacoby, I mean, I'm obviously not a GM of the team and the owner of the team, obviously, but he's making 11 million, maybe like 20, around 20 something million. I'm probably going to give him the least amount because, but I want him to get paid at the end of the day. I'm not no hater like that. I want him to get it paid as much as possible, but I'm just looking at it from like a fan perspective of, the Raiders, obviously, for competitive advantage, you wanted them to get a great deal so they can sign other players. But I think a fair deal with him would be somewhere in the 20s, not in the 30s, and maybe put some, we'll see how it shakes out. A trade is possible. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Ray, man, shout out to you. He says, no, that is a terrible move. I texted you and told you a few days ago, I bet the Raiders are interested. Yeah, man, you called it. You called Kyle Trask. It almost happened. I think the only reason why they didn't sign Kyle Trask was that I think he's hurt. Because that's why he was released. It was like an injury release type deal. So it was close to happening. What happened? Hold on here. Let me. Hold on 1 second. Hey, if you guys haven't already, make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Man, hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. Let me lock that right there. Okay. Yeah, man, you're right. You caught it, man. You caught it. A Drizzle says, Cooper, let's go. It's just to fair warning y'all, man. I don't think it's going to be the same Cooper. I don't think it's going to be the same Cooper. It's not even, I don't think he's not going to be, he isn't going to be the same Amari Cooper that we all know and love from back in the day where he's drafted by the team. He was pretty much a young receiver going into his prime. This is a guy that's, a little bit older. He's I think he's in his 30s now, so we'll see. We'll see what he could add to that room, but definitely experienced, definitely a good route runner, can move him around from the outside to inside. It's a veteran receiver, and I felt like that's what this team needed, to be honest with you. And a little bit more size compared to what the other receivers that we have. I mean, salute to Trey Tucker, had a great training camp, but he's not the biggest receiver out there. Dante Thornton, he does have the athletic traits, but can he get open against press? Does he need some time to develop his route running? Those are all questions that need answering. That's going to take time. If you don't want to be gotta do what I gotta do, man. You hoping for no more news? My fingers are gonna end up on yeah, man, it's wild out here, man. The Raiders are definitely out here busy, but they're actually they've been aggressive though, trying to upgrade the. I'll give the Raiders credit. They're not just letting things happen. They're actually going out to make things happen. We've kind of, at some point, we were asking them for them to make certain moves. It might not be, some of the moves might not be what we liked personally, but we'll see how it shakes out in the long run. Too many Raiders. Shout out to Bosco. He says high price free agents come in there thinking, let's see. Come in there thinking they're bigger than the offense. I don't know, man. I don't know if that applies to Jacoby though. I think Jacoby has a right to feel that like he's been, playing on a deal where he's overplayed it. Like he's played better than what he's being paid. So I don't really feel like he's in the wrong, but if he's asking for 30 million a season just because he's the number one receiver by default, meaning that, like, even though we all know that he's a good number two, since he is the best receiver that we have, he's by default the number one receiver. So he's kind of, his agent and him probably trying to take advantage of that moment, trying to get paid more. It's all business, but the Raiders are definitely not falling for it. Spy Tech is definitely not falling for it, from what it sounds like. But hopefully they don't make no crazy move like trade a starting receiver for a safety. That does he start? If he does start, who's he going to be starting over? Is he going to be playing at free safety? It sounds like more he's going to be in the box, like more of a strong safety. I don't know, man. I just, that's a tough move for me. Arno says we already have a number one. There's only one ball to throw around. 18 and 20 2-year extension. Okay. I think he might get a little bit more than that. But yeah, I hear you. I hear you. This Kenny Pickett business is being overblown, in my opinion. We need a backup. That fifth wasn't going to get us anything. No, that's not true. That's not true. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think you can get it. You can always get it. You can get somebody in the fifth. The chances of you getting a good player or developing that is not going to be as high as maybe a first round pick or second round pick, those premium picks. I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is, why even give up a draft pick for a guy that's really not that good to begin with, even as a backup? You literally got a athletic AOC with less arm. It's straight up. Like, I'm being honest. Like, don't think he's that good. And I felt like they gave up draft compensation. I think it was like a desperate move. They could have waited, or they could have made another move. But, hey, the Raiders felt like that was the right move for them. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully Geno doesn't get hurt. Let's start there. We hope that Geno doesn't get hurt, and we don't have to see a Kenny Pickett, out there. We don't have to see a Kenny Pickett out there playing some snaps, some starter snaps. We don't want to see that. He's not that good. He can be like Crabtree. I don't know, man. I don't know if Amari got Crabtree in his game. Crabtree was a beast. I don't know if Amari has his game. I'm not sure, if it's going to be Crabtree. We'll see. Bro, I've said it because I just looked at the wide receiver room and I seen who was available. I will say this, though. The Raiders, I got to give them credit. They were not going to be paying, because Spot Track, this is, you got to take Spot Track with a grain of salt. Even though they have somewhat of accurate numbers when it comes to contracts, their estimated value of certain players might be exaggerated, because I think they had Amari Cooper at 18 million this offseason, and obviously no one wanted to sign him for that much if that was the case, if that's what he was asking for. And I don't think the Raiders signed him to an $18 million 1 year deal. They probably sent maybe a quarter of that, maybe less. Ray, I think you were telling me $5 million, but I haven't seen any contract details yet. I'm sure they're going to come out soon, but yeah, man, we'll see. It's not a terrible move, especially if it's a cheap contract. You're getting an experienced guy. And I know a lot of Raider fans of Cooper. The big thing with him is just more like they felt like he didn't want to be with the Raiders. He didn't want to be there, but he came back. Once a Raider, always a Raider, right? For all the people that was questioning Amari Cooper and his time with the Raiders, once a Raider, always a Raider, right? He signs with the team that drafted him. If he hated that much, he would have not. I don't think he would have came back and signed with them, but he probably didn't have a lot of options. Yes, we did. We gave up a 5th round, man. I didn't like that, bro. I didn't like that at all. And another thing, too, in other news, Trey Hendrickson ended up signing a 1 year. Well, they restructured his deal. So he's signed. He's showing up to the Bengals, so he's not getting traded. They restructured his deal. It's essentially going to be he's going to be on a 1-year, $30 million deal. Now, why I'm bringing this up is obviously, you know, for all the people that are thinking that Trey Hendrickson was going to get traded to the Raiders, I told you so. He wasn't. And another side to it is this might have, maybe you can compare this to the Jacoby situation. Maybe the Raiders kind of meet halfway and they sign him to restructure him to, like, they give him a 1-year raise. They give him more money for that 1 year and then let him go into free agency next year and test the market. So that might be the middle ground here. I'd rather have that than go ahead and just trade him away for a player that I don't feel like is the same value. I just don't. That doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. Jacoby wanted to be. Yeah, Jacoby requested. Jacoby wanted to be traded. He requested, and the Raiders denied it. So the Raiders definitely don't want to trade him. But there are rumors, you know, shout out to Raider Resistance and some people in the chat here. They're stating that, you know, the Raiders are looking to maybe trade him to the Patriots for a defensive player. I don't know about that. That's going to be tough. Yeah, I know, man. Kenny Pickett. Come on, man. I was roasting like Steeler fans and it's ugly. So that was just an ugly move, but hey, look, he's just the backup quarterback. I know I'm being super critical of the move, but I'm not a fan of the player, and I just felt like they overpaid. Like they signed him maybe when he after the cuts and he was available in the open market. Then I'm like, it's whatever. You know, the Raiders would probably sign him to a cheap deal, and you know that's what it's going to be. But they actually traded for him. He was traded twice. This is the value of Kenny Pickett, y'all. He was traded twice in 6 months. Traded twice in 6 months. That should tell you how much teams value him as a quarterback. Now, he was a backup quarterback to the Super Bowl winning champs, the Eagles. But that's, you know, he had probably the easiest job in the world. Let everybody on the Eagles, that talented team, do all the work while he just chilled and just got his ring, you know. But I'm just talking mess. I mean, he probably did something. He did something. 707 says pass protection has looked good in the preseason. We'll be okay. That's what I'm hoping. I know I was one of the people that jumped to conclusions after that first preseason game because I didn't like how they went against the starters. I didn't like and I was questioning a little bit of you know, that Meredith to center move, and I still have doubts about it. You know, when you got a guy like you know, JPJ that could possibly be better. Not possibly. I feel like it's a better player than Meredith, especially maybe at center. But it's looking like it might work out, but we'll see, man. When the season rolls around, we'll kind of see how. I think it's going to take some time to gel. I think right off the bat, it's going to take a few games for the offense to gel a little bit, and then especially the defense, with the young secondary. But if they can figure out a way, if we can get that run game going, force some turnovers, we can after like the first 4 or 5 games. We can probably figure it out as a team and see what we need to improve on. A 5th for not good or trash. That's what I'm saying. A 5th for, man, let it be a 7th. 5th round. That's just, man, the Raiders are desperate. But they obviously didn't expect to make a move at backup quarterback. This is like they really were going to go with AOC as the backup. And when AOC got hurt last preseason game, they went into desperation move. I thought there was probably going to be other moves, and I threw out the Colts move for you know, Anthony Richardson. But you know, he has to be available. Maybe the Colts are not there. They announced Daniel Jones as starter, but they're probably not making him available to trade, and you know, they're probably asking a lot. You know, that's another thing. It's behind closed doors. We don't know all the information, so we don't know what these teams are asking for. So I might say that the Raiders should have got this player, but that team can be asking for like a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, something that's out, you know, crazy. So Maybe Spytek felt that was the best deal available. I felt like they probably could have got, if they wanted experience, they probably could have got some, like maybe a Jameis Winston. You know, I'm not saying as a starter, but like as a backup, I thought he would have brought more value. And I'm not sure. I don't think he was released or anything like that. But they could at least maybe traded for him or waited until he got released because, you know, maybe that quarterback room is already established. But he would have been a good locker room ad. He has starters experience. A Jameis Winston would have been a better move to me, in my opinion, than a Kenny Pickett. This is my opinion. Let's see, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Marty Marr says new regime. Yes, it is. Let me make this bigger for everybody to see here. He has talent, but just playing too unathletic. Are you talking about Kenny Pickett or who are we talking about? My bad. I'm trying to catch up with the chat, man. Y'all going crazy. For anybody that's new is watching, definitely hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. And obviously, if you're watching as well, everybody that's watching, definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Set on Sevens, Henry got paid by the Bengals, but it's a 1-year deal. So he's gonna, it's only a 1-year deal. So he's probably gonna head into free agency after this season, or they, you know, reevaluate his season and they offer him another a contract. But most likely he probably heads into free agency. Bosco in the building says Bowers our best pass catcher playing and still is. I think Kobe is playing the only hand he can, and the Cooper signing doesn't make us look desperate to any trade partner. No, I think the Raiders are playing it right with Jacoby. Straight up. If he's asking for number 1 wide receiver money, then I'm sorry, bro. It's just that's not. I don't think that's a good move for the Raiders. So, and you said the Cooper signing doesn't make us look desperate to any trade partner. Nah, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Let me just play devil's advocate. If the Raiders do trade Jacoby, I'd rather get a draft pick. Because I don't feel like we're going to get the same value in return as for a player, for an actual player. Just my opinion. It's my opinion, y'all. You've been talking smack about a man. And like people be acting like I'm tripping. I'm like, man, you overreacting. It's just a backup quarterback. I'm like, you know, hey, like why trade for him if he's that type of caliber of player? Like he's not that great of a player. They probably seen that. Oh, he won the Super Bowl. You know, he was a backup for a Super Bowl winning team. You know, he had some starter snaps under Mike Tomlin. You know, there's stuff like that. Like they probably were like hyping up, but that don't make any sense. It's not. Yeah, they need to send Thayer back to GMD for sure. Have him start too against the Raiders. Definitely have him start on the right side or even left side. Start anywhere on the offensive line. Thayer, that'd be a great trade for sure. Definitely. You know what? Great point. Great point. We do have some Philly executives in the building. Spytek, that was one of the, you know, his guy, the guys that he has in the building. Some of them come straight from Philly that were under Howie Roseman. So they were there when they won the Super Bowl. They were there when, you know, Kenny Pickett was in the building. So they might have vouched for him. Man, that's kind of, I don't know about that one. They might get fired. No, I'm just playing. When you have older QB backup is exactly when you have an older QB and the way the NFL works, you know, literally NFL stands for not for long. You know, players are going to get hurt. Players are going to get hurt. hurt. And that backup quarterback position is very important, especially how important the quarterback position is overall, how much impact it has on the team. So, you know, that's part of being a good team. That's part of having depth. And, you know, that backup quarterback is an important position for sure. Coach, if I knew they was going to hit red button after AOC went down, I would have been praying for AOC demise like that. Coach, you crazy, man. You wild, man. Should the Raiders go sign an offensive lineman, a skipper that was just released by the Lions to help the depth? Yeah, I'm all for adding more depth to the offensive line for sure, especially for what we've seen from some of the guys that were, you know, coming in last game, some of the depth pieces that we have at offensive line. I seen Kenyon Green, former first-round pick for the Eagles, or not the Eagles, but the Texans. He got cut by the Eagles because he was traded to the Eagles. He was released. He's available. Maybe he comes here and is one of the many projects, the former first-round picks, and he turns around here, you know. So there is some talent there, but, you know, speaking to a Eagles fan, he really didn't do too much. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely all for upgrading the offensive lines. I would say safety, corner. I threw in wide receiver in there, but, you know, obviously they went ahead and addressed that already with Amari Cooper. We'll see. Pickett is better than Aiden, so it costs us the 5th. Who cares? I don't know, man. I don't know. That is debatable. That is debatable. I don't think it's as easy as what you're saying. You're saying that, you know what? I need to put that in the chat. Who's better? Give me a 1 in the chat. Give me a 1 in the chat if you feel like Pickett is better than Aiden O'Connell, or 2 if you feel like Aiden O'Connell is better than Kenny Pickett. I think it's close. That's like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady of trash right there. Let's see here. Other teams were in on Pickett. Yeah. Realist Raider, I got to believe you because your name. Just because your name, bro. I got to believe you. Realist Raider for sure. I'm not big on Pickett. I'd rather have Winston too, but I'm not tripping on the backup. If Geno goes down, we cooked anyway. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, you know, if for the people who want to see competitive football this year, for the people who want to see a team that to possibly contend for a playoff spot, even though I know realistically that's not going to be in the I don't think that's going to be in the Raiders' future this year. If they are competitive and with Geno they are competing for a playoff spot and he goes down, it's going to suck that Pick is going to come into the game and just, you know, in my opinion, I don't think he's that good. So I don't think he's going to do well there. But, you know, maybe Chip Kelly will work his magic. Maybe he can work with a Kenny Pickett. You know, Chip Kelly, like I said the other day, is the biggest X factor to this Raiders season. He's the guy that's the biggest X factor because he's going to impact the offense. If we can have a good offensive coordinator, a good play caller, then we're going to see other guys on offense become even better. We all know Brock Bowers is going to be great. We know that. He was great last year with everything going on at an offensive coordinator, at quarterback. It didn't matter. He got his. Same thing with Jacoby. You know, if he's still with the team, he still was able to kind of transcend the entire quarterback room being all everywhere and the offensive coordinator being everywhere as far as getting fired in the middle of the season. But the other guys like Michael Mayers and the Trey Tuckers and, you know, you got these young rookies, you know, those guys are going to get even better under a Chip Kelly. So, you know, you add Kenny Pickett to the equation. If there was a situation where he was called upon, maybe he looks even better because Chip Kelly is that good. He can put Pickett, he can make a Kenny Pickett look good. So maybe that's the positive way to look at it, I guess. You know, Chip Kelly was like, yeah, I can work with a Kenny Pickett. I can make it work. I can make him look like Rich Gannon. Raider Ray in the building. Wants to remind y'all, clock in, as we like to say it on this channel, man. Clock in, which means like, comment, and subscribe. You know, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. Definitely check out tomorrow's show, the 50-50 show. Definitely check that out with me and Severe. We'll be here to chop it up and talk about everything going on with the Raiders, including the moves, but as well as the expected cuts that are going to be coming with the team. And then we got Around the Shield later this week. We'll have a guest this week, so make sure to tune in for that. Let's see. Only the Raiders wasted a. Come on, man. Don't kick us down when we're down, man. Don't do that, man. Money Chuck in the building says I'd want a starting offensive guard or a great rotation guy for Myers. Okay. So offensive line is what you're saying. When you're saying a great rotation, you're basically saying offensive line. Man. I mean, who would have that? Who would be available? But I can make sense of that because because the Raiders' identity is going to be running the football. So if you're going to be running the football, you definitely want to have a good offensive line. You want to definitely shore that up. And Meredith is a question mark. Is his first time starting this year? He's going to be a starting center this year. I feel like we all know. We feel like JPJ is solid. You can possibly upgrade with Parham, but he's kind of held that spot the entire offseason, that starting left guard spot. Colt Miller's obviously the stalwart. He's the best offensive lineman that we had. Him and JPJ. And then obviously Glaze up there is a guy that's going to be counted on. If we can possibly upgrade, I'm all for it too. I'm with that. I wouldn't be like, man, it's going to be tough because wide receiver, when you don't have wide receivers, man, I know everybody's excited about Dante Thornton and Jack Besh, but come on now. Let's be real. Let's see. Man, everybody pulling out. I'm trying to catch up in the chat. Need a gritty. We have a slot receiver. We do. You called his name right there. Yeah, we already have it. They might get fired. Who might get fired? I don't know who's gonna get fired. Hopefully Kenny Pickett has learned some humility after being on his team. Yeah, I think the reason why he got traded by the Steelers because he was upset that the Raiders, or not the Raiders, but the Steelers. He was upset at the Steelers because they signed a couple of quarterbacks, or they signed Russell Wilson. Ooh, okay, so he's available, Dan Skipper. Okay, someone in the chat said that earlier. Lions O tackle should be signed immediately, cut there. The Raiders are 6th in the waiver wire, so they could have a good chance of picking him up if they make a claim. So we'll see. But where would you put him? Would you put him at guard? Or you know what? I'm tripping. We're actually in need of a swing tackle. So first guy off the bench. If he's, I feel like that might be the move. Super Omicron, why would they trade for Tariq Woolen? I mean, why would the Seahawks trade Tariq Woolen? I know why the Raiders would trade for him. Because, Pete Carroll connection. He was there when they got drafted, so I get that. Oh, is he more of a power blocking guard? Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but he was athletic. Like, he was like an athletic guard coming out, so, that was powerful. But I would think maybe they can just see what happens. Oh, this is from earlier. So you said one. So you think Kenny Pickett is better than AOC? Okay, Marty Mars says Kenny Pickett is better because I said 1 for Kenny Pickett, 2 for AOC. Isaiah says 1. Alfredo, man, come on, man. He said 3. He's tapping out. He's like, nah, I can't, man. They both trash. Okay, Kenny Pickett wins. All right, y'all. All right. I'm down on Kenny Pickett. I just don't think he's that good, but it is what it is. But he was drafted in the first or second round, so I guess he has that over AOC as well. But I just don't see him as any good, to be honest with you. But, you know, Raiders till death says 2. Okay, we on the same page. I think it's just close. It's a toss-up. Any given Sunday. It might be Aiden. It might be Kenny Pickett. That's how close it is. He says all ones. One all day. Yeah, I mean, I you know what it is too? Everybody's kind of fresh off seeing his preseason game with Aiden O'Connell and seeing how bad he was. I get it. I get it. I think everybody's kind of fresh off seeing how bad he was. But, you know, when he got drafted, I was like shocked. I was like, why are the Raiders drafting a quarterback that can't move and doesn't have an arm? You know, that was just shocking to me. But when I seen that first preseason game, maybe I was like, oh, okay, maybe this might work because he had a solid first rookie preseason. But that should tell you that preseason is only, it really doesn't mean anything. When the bullet starts flying, you got to play, you know, in the regular season, and these guys are moving 100 miles per hour. We all seen how AOC reacted to that. He was a rookie. So everybody talking about Cam Miller this, Cam Miller that. Yeah. That's why the Raiders were so desperate. They went ahead and traded for Kenny Pickett. They weren't excited about Cam Miller being the backup quarterback. Raider Ray says, if I was starting from scratch, I'd take Kenny over AOC. I'm just over the AOC experience. On to the next circus. Yeah. I hear you. I think this might be his last year. He's signing in a fourth round. I think it's a 4-year deal. Or next year might be his last season. He drafted 2022. I think. Yeah, 2022 was it the or was it 2022? It might have been 2023. So he got a couple years. I'll take my chance for getting Pryor back as a backup. TP, man, I had hopes for Terrell Pryor, man, but he just couldn't complete a pass. Like, that was just something that he could not do. He could do everything. Like, he could run with the best of them, strong. You know, he was a big quarterback, but he was not accurate at all, and that's why he went ahead and turned into, I think he converted into a wide receiver with the Browns, starting with the Browns and the Commanders, I believe. Okay. All right, 7. Okay, talk your stuff, man. He says Kenny is 15-10 as a starter, so maybe he could win us 2 or 4 if Geno misses time. Okay. Look, I like this. See, this is the other side. I'm on the other side. I'm like, hey, he's trash. He's not really that good. But right here, this is a sensible, you know, comment right here. He says 15-10 as a starter. So I did say that he does come with some starter experience. And he's obviously have won some games, even though not in spectacular fashion. And he doesn't really have a high ceiling or anything like that. And when it really comes down to it, it's like if a team game plans against him, I think it's over. And this is what I hope. Pickett is never seeing the field, and that's what I hope. I hope he doesn't see the field. That's the goal. But we know how the NFL works. People get hurt left and right, so players are gonna get hurt, and it's the next man up mentality, and especially at that quarterback position, you gotta value that, and that's why the Raiders went ahead and made that trade, and obviously gave up some draft capital that I thought was a little bit too much for Kenny Pickett, but you know. Like my guy 707 says, man, 15-10 as a starter, man. He's holding on to that. Okay, I'll give you that. Winston has does he? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear this. I didn't. Winston's in the news for all the wrong reasons. I didn't hear that. I heard Tannehill was a name that was thrown out there. Tannehill or Pickett. Ooh. Tannehill, like in his prime, it would be Tannehill. I'll take Tannehill easy. But Tannehill now, man, the last time I seen him, man, he didn't look too good. He did not look too good. Salute to my guy, man, Daniel Kim in the building, the king of mods in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Pedro, man, I'm trying to catch up to the chat. Right, Raiders are already planning on letting AOC after this game year. Yeah. I don't think AOC was a big factor. Like, they didn't really. AOC was just happened to be on the roster, and they went ahead. He had some experience starting the game, so I think he was going to be the backup. But they're not locked into AOC. Like, he could easily be replaced. Nah. Maybe back in like 2016. Maybe back in 2016, possibly, yeah. Top 5 receiver core. That's funny. That's funny, man. That's funny. Severe was good. Was good, man. Appreciate you coming through, my guy. If you guys haven't subscribed, definitely head over to Severe's channel. Definitely head over to The Severe Raider and subscribe to my guy. We'll have a 50-50 show tomorrow. Definitely tune in. We're going to be cracking jokes and, just talking about what the Raiders are going to be doing as far as improving this roster. Maybe at that moment of time, they'll probably make some moves that we'll kind of like. I like one out of the 2 moves. I like the Amari Cooper. It was not a bad move, in my opinion. Pickett, felt like they could have got a quarterback similar to that for less. This is my opinion on that. Pickett and AOC are both not very good. That's what I'm saying. Hey, man. Look. See, y'all agree with me. Yeah. Look at improve O-line, better run game, Jen not getting hurt. Yeah, I think that's the goal. I think they're going to be looking at improving, adding a swing tackle. Shout out to Ray Heat and someone else in the chat talking about Skipper. Dan Skipper was cut by the Lions. Maybe that's the guy that they target to possibly take that role from Thayer Mumford, who I don't know what happened from last year to now, but he looks like a completely different player, and it's not in a good way. Let's see, man. Yeah, I was talking to him. I was telling him, man, hey, we need you at QB, man. We need you at QB. Pickett was a first rounder. He's better than Aiden, in my opinion. It's not Pickett, the player that I hate. It's the pick given up to get him. And that's where I'm at too. I was just talking trash when it comes to Pickett and Aiden. But it makes you think. You think about it. You're thinking about it a little bit. And the one edge that Pickett has is his ability to move. But I don't think, as far as his arm talent, I think it's about the same, maybe even worse with Pickett. Pickett doesn't really have a strong arm, in my opinion. It's not Pickett, the player that I hate. It's the pick that given up to get him. I said of the QBs in Cleveland, he was most likely the option. Okay, man. Hey, man, my guy Severe be calling it. He be calling it, man. Salute. Geno Smith. Hey, yeah, man. We got a lot to be excited about. But hey, man, I appreciate everybody coming through. Great show. I just wanted to come here and just talk some mess, man. There was a whole lot of news. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just get on a live show real quick. Usually I do my little schedule every week by going with the 50-50 show and Around the Shield, but I just want to come here and chop it up with y'all. I appreciate everybody pulling up. Great show. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hopefully the Raiders this time tomorrow, they've made the right moves. Obviously they're going to make some cuts. Some of the players are, they're going to keep. Some players they're going to have to cut and obviously replace. So I'm sure they're going to be active in adding some players. They've already started that whole process by adding, a Kenny Pickett and signing Amari Cooper. So they're already ahead of it right now. So they're trying to upgrade this roster. So I think we'll have a better idea on what this team looks like probably by the end of the week or so. So definitely tune in. 50-50 show, Around the Shield. My guy Sean Fuller says, "Go Raiders." Yeah, man. Just it's that simple. I don't know, man. Alex Kappa, is his days numbered? His days might be numbered. Mostert, Raheem Mostert, is his days numbered? Shout out to Zamir White. Zamir White balled out last preseason game. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, man, I'm up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody pulling up. Like I said, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification. I appreciate everybody pulling up, supporting the show. Just do me a favor, just hit that like button. Obviously, subscribe if this is your first time watching the show. If you haven't subscribed, man, definitely go ahead and do that. But I'll be back here tomorrow, man. 50-50 show with my guy Severe. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Peace.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.